Good evening, and welcome to Bring It to the Table on a Friday night. Well, I pray that you've all had a great week, and you're looking forward to the weekend and enjoying your family and friends and just being careful and trying to stay safe and healthy. If you want to call in tonight, I would love for you to, but before you do that, get to the table with a glass of wine, milk, orange juice, whatever your taste buds call for, and relax. Because I think tonight it's going to be a little deep, I believe, because I've had some calls this week that a couple of people wanted to talk about, and because they're going through some things and they're talking about depression and emotional depression and spiritual depression. So we're going to kind of tap on it a little bit tonight. But I must say, I am not a psychiatrist. I cannot diagnose or tell you how to do this or what to do or any of that. But we're just going to, like I said, we're just going to dive in and touch on a few things, and hopefully that it will help. And again, I'm going to give you the call-in number, which is 310-910-9676, extension 1. That's the request line if you want to call in and get into the conversation. And it's always good to have a conversation about certain things. And tonight, that's what we're going to do. Again, the request line is 310-910-9676, extension 1. Yes, and as I was saying, tonight, we're going to kind of touch bases on this depression. I've had some phone calls and I've had some emails and wanting to touch on it tonight because a couple of people are going through depression and they're trying to understand it before they decide if they really need to go to a psychiatrist to try to help them through it, or should they take some medication to try to help them through it. They just kind of want to, touch bases on it. And a lot of times you can talk about something and wind up really getting the answer. And you don't even have to go to a doctor to get some medication, or you don't even have to go to that psychiatrist and lay on the couch, because you've talked it out, you've kind of heard some things, and the Lord will reveal things to you. So we're going to kind of talk about it tonight. And what I did do, I kind of wrote down a couple of things, and I just kind of toyed with it, back and forth. And so tonight, I'm going to just, start here where it says how to begin your transforming out of depression. How do you come out of depression when you're depressed? And for me, I think, and I'm not sure now, but I think you have to know your depression. You have to know where you are and what it is that's causing you to be depressed. Because you can't come out of anything if you don't know what it is and really how you got in it. So first, I think one must identify their depression. And then be able to name that depression, whatever it is that you're being depressed about. Because once you can name it, then you can kind of know it. And then I think and I feel then you can kind of know what direction to go in and how to deal with it, because you got the first two things that's important kind of out of the way. And then how often are you in that depressed mood? You got to look at that too. How often am I depressed? I know my depression. I can name my depression. Now, how often am I depressed? You got to kind of look at that. Am I depressed 24 hours a day? Am I only depressed an hour a day? Or is it once a week, once a month? You got to kind of look at that. And then the other thing is, I would think, why are you having such mood swings? Sometimes your mood swings can give you, put you in that depressed state of mind, and if I can use this word, that defunct state of mind, and that feeling. So with trying to figure out how to come out of those things, I think you got to have to name a couple of things and figure out what they are, and understand your mood swings. Because if you're in a mood swing, you got to understand I think you have to understand why you're in it. Why am I in this mood swing? Why I feel this way? How can I control my mood swing? And when you can sit down and just be in that closet of your own, or that space of your own, you can ask yourself these things. And I'm quite sure eventually, by asking yourself these things, you can see why you're there and know how to take control yourself and come out of those things. And I didn't realize that until I started kind of doing some homework here. I didn't realize that there was a emotional depression and also a spiritual depression. Some probably would have said, well, gee, you should have known that. No, I didn't think about it, really, that there's difference when you're in a emotional depression. And the emotional depression, I understand, after doing some reading, it come up saying anger sometimes in depression is turned inward. So I said, oh, wow, turn inward. That gives you something to think about. You know, when you trying to determine the depression and the mood that you're in and that mood swing, has it turned inside out or have it turned outside in? So these are some things that I think one has to, we all at one point, I think, in our lives have to sit back and think about when we go through a mood swing, or when we have a mood swing, or when even we have that feeling of getting ready to get into a depressed state of mind. I think we have to learn how to control, get the control back, get our control back. Because once I think we're in a mindset of being in a depression state of mind, you're out of control. You have no longer control at all. Something else is controlling you, but it's not you. And we can have that emotional depression because there are things that, if I can use this word, repressed anger and put you in an area where you are depressed. And that can be, like I said, control is one. Lack of control. You've lost control of the situation, or either that you're in. You just have no more control of it. Where all before you was controlling. Now you got to sit back because you're not in control. So now this is probably putting one into a emotional depression because they've lost control. And if you've always used to being in control, you don't like it when you've lost it. So now it can be a loss of self-esteem that can put you in that emotional standpoint of, hey, now I got less, I don't have that self-esteem anymore. So now it's taking you in another direction. It's taking you in a direction of not being in control of your life, or not being in control of how you're feeling about yourself. So, we got to look at all of that. And once it's being looked at, then you will know, you know what, I need to go and sit down and talk, or either go lay on somebody's couch, and a psychiatrist's couch, and talk about it. Or you can say, hey, you know what, I need to go to my doctor and explain to him or her what I'm going through, so that they may give me a prescription for some medication. But now it's up to you and which one you want to do. For me, that's where that control comes back. You either lose the control and let someone else tell you or give you, or you take back the control yourself and work it out. Because I think we can sit down and, I shouldn't say we, I should say one can sit down and discuss it. And when you're discussing whatever it is that have you in that depressed mode, or that swing, that mode that keeps you swinging, that mood, I'm sorry, that keeps you swinging from left to right, you can let that person that you're talking to just be that ear. Listen. Because a lot of times when you talk things out loud, you eventually say, oh, you know what? Now that really didn't make sense. Let me change that. Or, you know what? That made a lot of sense. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to keep that, but I might work on it a little bit more. So getting the control back in your emotional depressed state of mind, I think that helps tremendously. Now, that's just me. For you all that's out there listening, you want to get in on this conversation, I'd love for you to. And I'm going to give you the request line again. That's 310-910-9676, extension 1. Because you probably have some feelings about it. And it's not that you have to be one that's depressed. And even if you are depressed or you deal with depression, call in. Because then I'd like to get some feedback on this topic. So again, having and going through the different type of mood swings and the depression, that combination is like you have totally lost control of yourself. And quite sure you're probably struggling to try to get back the control, but don't know which way to go or how to get the control back. And I think too that sitting down, not always have to sit down with like I said, with the psychiatrist, but you can sit down with a friend that you know, that you trust, that will listen to you. And if you ask them to give you some feedback, they'll give it. But they know not to just automatically give you their thought without asking if you want it. So that emotional roller coaster and being depressed, but depression comes in all forms. And it could be the weather could put you in a depressed mood. The weather could be, oh wow, this got me so depressed. I don't even want to go out. I don't really want to do anything. So again, it comes in all forms. It does, and it doesn't matter whether you are an adult or a child or a young adult, I should say, because it really don't care. When they want to attack, it attack. And when you allow it to attack, it attacks. So, and that's the reason why I think, and again, I could be wrong, but I think it's important to know your depression and to know the name of your depression, because then you can deal with it. It could be a weather depression, because I'm depressed about the weather. It could be a weather depression. Well, people get depressed over losing their job. That's another one. And now, how do you come out of that? I think coming out of that type of depression is to find another job. Find another one. Or if you're depressed because of the, let me see, I want to say your profession, you might wind up being depressed because of the profession and you having a problem with staying on a job in your profession, or you can't get hired in your profession. Maybe you have to look at changing that and go another way to come out of it. But I think, and again, who is Miss Gigi? I think we can come out of it. And I have to put myself here on the table, because when the calls and the emails came in to me wanting to talk about it, I had to stop and think, hey, G, have you ever been depressed? And my first thought was, no, I ain't never been depressed. But then again, like I said, depression comes in all phases. It has different colors. So when I stopped to really think about it, I said, well, you know what? I guess I have. Because I guess you could say this is being depressed, because I didn't want to go nowhere. I just don't want to stay in my house. I don't want to go nowhere. It's not that anybody had done anything to me, or there was anything that totally upset me or was taken from me to put me in that frame of mind of being depressed. But so maybe I was. Because I for a whole week, I didn't want to come out of the house, and it had nothing to do with the virus. Nothing to do with the virus. This is way before the virus even happened. So I kind of think, wow, maybe I was going through something at that time. Maybe I was depressed at that time. And what happened? Eventually, I decided, okay, I think this week I'm going to get out and start doing this and doing that. So maybe that was just a time for me to go through, because I didn't do anything. I just stayed in my house. I didn't do anything. And I became that couch potato and watched all my stories every day, all day, and favorite programs. And every now and then I put the cover over my head. So maybe that was a time that I was depressed. I don't know. So I can't really say, no, I've never been depressed, or yes, I've been depressed, because really, I can't even tell you what put me in that frame of mind at that time. So, but like I said, depression comes in all phases, And I've learned something else too, that there is a spiritual depression. Yes, a spiritual depression. And with that spiritual depression, and let me say this too, you can know the Lord and still go through depression. You can still go through depression, even if you know the Lord. And I would say that's okay too, because what happens is, in order to come out of it, you got to lean on Him. But even in leaning on Him, you got to recognize that it is a spiritual depression, because now I'm not praying, I'm not fellowshipping, I'm not reading my word. So that right there becomes a spiritual depression. And also I took a little note when they talked about spiritual depression. I kind of trying to say, well, come on, what is the spiritual part about it other than what I just mentioned? It could be loss of a loved one, of love, I should say. As I said, it, loss of love, security, self-pity, and you can have fear, hopeless, all those things that fall in the line of faith, love, and hope can be your spiritual depression, or put you in a spiritual, and again, I'm going to use this word, deep funk of a mood. So that's the reason why I think that it's very, 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 very important to know your depression and be able to name your depression. So therefore, you'll know if it's a spiritual depression or if it's an emotional depression. Now that's just me talking. That's just me. But I think for me, I would like to realize, and when I think about it, when I was going through that whole week, I believe mine was was probably a combination. If you really want to know, it's probably a combination, because I didn't even pick up my word to read. And I probably just said, thank you, Lord. But that's still a prayer. But to really read my word, I I didn't do a lot of that during that time. So for me, it probably was a spiritual depression, along with just being depressed about not wanting to do anything, emotional. And so I looked at that. I said, oh, okay. Then I looked at, at the time I was dating someone, and when we went our separate ways, did I get into was I depressed because of it? No, not really. I don't think. I might have, a couple of days or 3 or 4 days, I might have, felt a little something. But after that, nah. So I don't even think for me that it was such a emotional depression or emotional detachment from the person that I was seeing at the time. I don't think so. So, but like I said, it's important to try to know what frame of mind you're in as the depression comes, or can you name the depression, or do you feel the depression coming on? I don't know. And for the couple of people that asked for this topic tonight, think about it. You can call in and we can talk. And if you don't want to call in, you can continue to do like you do. You always text me and you always email me. So you can still do that, because I would really love to hear. I would love to get some feedback, because you're going through it. You deal with depression. So I would love to get your feedback on how long do you stay in that depression? When does it come? How does it come? And when it hits you, what do you do? And how long do you stay in it? Is it released is it a week, 2 days, 3 days, a month, or is it, you never know? Because sometimes I'm not sure now, I think sometimes depression, you don't know when it's going to hit. You just know, oh, wow, here it is. I'm facing this now. I didn't come up with this here. I'm getting ready to. I don't want to go. I'm putting the covers over my head. Everything is dark. So I would really like to know. But also I think a lot of us, the world was in a depressed state of mind when this virus first hit us. We all got depressed. Every last one of us. And some of us came out of it slowly but surely. And then there's some of them that's still in it. So it's just coming together and knowing. I hate to keep saying I think, but coming together, because I think, you have to have that mindset to want to work on it or come out of it, or not have it to deal with it as often as you do. Because, I hear that sometimes that's just the way of a person's life. They just, they're always depressed. But I think that to help, I would really like to know where they are spiritually, because now they're depressed. But do you have the Lord in your life? Are you able to read the Word and understand the Word and go to the scriptures that will help you come out of that? I like to know that, because I know someone very, very dear to me, very close. She goes through it, and there's been times she will call me on the phone, and she calls me mom. And all I can do is listen. And then there's times that I can hear from her every other day. But I learned to know that when I don't hear from her, or she doesn't answer my calls, and it could be a week or 2 weeks, she's in that dark space. She's in that dark space. And whenever she comes out of it, it can be 2 weeks, 3 weeks, whenever she comes out of it, she'll call me, "Hey, Mom, I'm so glad you understand me." Because it was, I would say, a good 2 years that I hadn't heard from her. And every time I call, it goes straight to voicemail. And I decided, okay, I'm leaving messages. I know she's getting the message because her box is not full. So I just said, "Okay, Lord, what is it that you want me to do?" So he said, "Sit back. Just sit back." And I did. I stopped calling. And one evening, like I said, this was 2 years later, one evening, she called, "Hey, Mom, how are you?" I said, "I'm good. How are you?" I never changed my tone in speaking with her. I never questioned her. "Why are you just now calling? Why are you never returning my calls?" I didn't do any of that. And she said, "Oh, I'm so glad you understand me. I've just been going through what I just been depressed, and I just was going through this and da. But I'm so glad you understand. And I'm so glad that you have received me with love." I said, "Of course. Of course." So, some people, that's their life. That's a part of their life, is just going through that depression. And some of them go through it for weeks or 2 weeks, or they're always in a dark space. And even with her being in that dark space, she knows the Lord. She knows the Lord. But I didn't at that time question and ask her, "Well, or say to her, the Lord, why didn't you talk to the Lord about it? Why didn't you read your word?" I didn't do any of that. Because really, she could have been reading her word. I don't know. But I didn't pound on her, because I wanted the communication to always stay open, and to always know that whenever she decides to go in that dark space, she can pick up the phone when she comes out and call me, and I'm going to still be that same person. And because I didn't want that to change. And thus far, it's been working. She just had some back surgery, but she still goes through that from time to time. I will not hear from her maybe for a couple of days, or it might be a week, but it won't be the 2 years, So maybe she's getting better. I don't know. But like I said, I didn't question, because there's no answers really that I could give her, because again, I don't know the mindset of how to, or what to give a person that's going through depression. Because again, like I said, I'm not a psychiatrist, so I don't know. And I'm not a doctor, a physician, say, "Oh, okay, go down to the store, go down to CVS and get, some Tylenols and take them, and then you'll be all right." I can't do that, So no. But again, when it comes to the emotional, I think it's always good to know, and especially we Christians, we that know the Lord, and we that read his word, and we that go, and I used the word we a couple of times, I'm going to use it again, we that fellowship and go to Bible study, go to Sunday school, we know where to go and get our answers. We know to go to the basic instructions before leaving earth. That is the Bible. We know. And we know that there are some scriptures that we can lead to. Because one thing I know, when you talk about a spiritual depression and just depression period, especially for us that are in the Word, we know that it says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added unto you. So we know that we got to seek and get into his word, because we know he can bring us out or send us someone to help us so that we can come out. And also, there's always if I can say this, and I wrote this down here, there is a big difference between something that's difficult, which means hard to do, compared to something that is impossible, that's not capable. Therefore, take no thought for tomorrow, because tomorrow is today. That's what it is. So I just think that we know where to go, and there are times that I think one can talk to another one that really is not totally in the word, or this word are using or saying religion or Christians, with even not even saying any of that. You can talk to a person, especially when they ask you for your advice or for your opinion. Then this is the time that say, hey, you know what? Let me share the word with you. Let me share a couple of scriptures with you. Maybe this can help you. Seek ye first the kingdom. Okay? And then, you can slowly but surely ease in to some scriptures that they can go to on their own to look at and to read. And if they want you there side by side during the time that they do that, that's all well and good too, so that they can understand. Which is always good. And I wrote something down here that says, be bold and speak out. You've got to be bold to speak out. Some people can't speak out. Some people hold things in. And to me, I don't think that's good at all. Because, keeping stuff inside you, it's just very hard to stay. I guess I could say stay healthy, but it just makes you sick, because you got so much stuff all bottled up inside you, and you're keeping it to yourself. You're upset about things or whatever that may be. So it's always good. I think it's always good to just talk about the situation. Just speak boldly about it. And this is just a thought that just come. Sometimes you see, a lot of times you see people walking across the street and they just talking. That don't mean that person is crazy, or they lost their mind, or they depressed. They talking the situation out. They just talking it. because they don't have nobody else. So they say, let me just talk this out. And you hear yourself talking. You hear yourself. And when you hear yourself, a lot of times you can say, oh, okay. Hey, the girl, that didn't make sense. Or brother, that didn't make sense. And you keep on until you find something that you say makes sense. So you speak boldly. And I think it's always important too to have a space where you can listen to your thoughts. Have that space. And I mentioned a little earlier, get your closet, get in your closet. You can be in that box. You can be in that holding pattern, listening, because what you're trying to do spiritually and emotionally, get back to being, yourself, getting the power back, I should say, so that you can control what you're doing and how you walking forward, how you're taking that step. So get into your space, into your own closet, get into that holding pattern of a box, whichever you feel, so that you can listen to yourself and listen to your thoughts, so that you can pull back the control for yourself and of yourself. Because it's crazy to be out to not have no control. And having control is having control in a positive way, not a negative way, but in a positive way where everything that you do and say is smooth, it's not harsh, and it's where the next person don't mind being in your presence. So taking control in a way that is not harmful to anybody, and it's not really harmful to you, because you can take control and be very harmful to somebody else, but that's being harmful to yourself as well. So you don't want to do that. And I said, you don't want to do it, and you shouldn't do it. But when you take control, you're taking control of yourself, where you can now focus on the right things, and you're not so confused and combated with other things, because you have toned down, you have settled down, and now you're looking at things a lot different. Because sometimes when you're in a control state, and especially a negative state, it's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So you always want to remember to put God first. It should be, because when you do that, He'll help you to get back in control, so that you can have a mindset, and that you can listen and hear the Holy Spirit speak, and you can take each day step by step. And I wrote a couple of scriptures down, and if you got a pen, paper, jot these scriptures down, because it's I think it's good, because we can be going through something, and it does not have to be where we're depressed, nor do it have to be that we're depressed emotionally or spiritually. But these are some scriptures that can help you. I think too, scriptures you can read this scripture today, and it will set the tone and mood for what it is that you're going through. And then tomorrow you can read that same scripture, and you'll get a different feeling, different outlook, because then it speaks to what you're going through. So, jot this down. Matthew 6:33 through 34. That's just the first part of it. And 11:28 through 30. John 16:33. Psalms 37 37, Psalms 34, 17, 18, and then 27, 1 through 14, 37, 25 through 27, Isaiah 41:10, and also 40:31. Then we'll go to Romans 8:35, and then we can sum it up with Psalms 121, 1 through 8. Just check those out. Check them out, because we all need something that we can go to in order to help us. And I find that when you read, maybe just hypothetically say Psalms 131, 1 through 8. Now you might just read that, but it gets so interesting till you want to go a little bit further. And that's what it's all about, because when you keep reading, you'll find, wow, okay, this is very helpful to me. This helps me. I can do this. I can get myself back where I need to be. And doing that is because you got the Lord in your life. You're listening. And even with those that I'd say, okay, yeah, I go to church. No, I don't go to church. I don't, blah, da, da, da. But even with those that say, no, da, 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 da. Guess what? If you lead them there, their whole attitude and everything will change. Once they get into that word and seek ye first the kingdom, hey, it'll work. It works every time. And I tell you what, we're going to pick this back on in a minute, but I want to send a shout out to my guy that wrote this song, Her Mystical Journey. I just want to say thank you to Mr. Scott, Mr. Lehman Scott. He wrote this. What I did was I was turned on by him to someone else. Someone else turned me on to him. And I told him what I wanted to do. And he said, okay, well, let me work on something and I'll get back to you. And I said, okay, fine. And he did. And when he gave me 2 or 3 other songs to listen to, this is the one that it was a aha moment. And this is Her Mystical Journey. Because I have a journey. And at the beginning of this podcast, which was June 6th, 2021, I began my story, my journey. But now I've been asked, is there more to your journey? Is there more to your story? Yes, it is. And I will give you part 2 of my story or my journey. It's coming. So I want to say thank you to Mr. Lehman Scott for the song, Her Mystical Journey. And if you want to know more about him, go to lesswordmusicproductions.com and check him out. And that's spelled LESWORDMUSIK production.com. Check him out. He's awesome. I mean awesome. And if you're having a special event and you want something special, something different, something of your own, talk to him and he can come up with an instrumental or whatever, but give him a call. I should say, check him out on his website. Again, that's lesswordmusicproduction.com. LESWORDMUSIK production.com. You would be totally happy. Totally happy. Also, I want to say hello to Mr. Glenn Gamble, giving him a shout out. for you all that like your car being washed and detailed, and you don't want to go to the car wash, call Mr. Gamble and let him come and detail your car. Guarantee you won't go back to another car wash place. You'll always have him come take care of your car. And if you want to know more about him and what he does, go to Eat Detailing. This is his website. Eat Detailing. That's EATDETAILING.com. And you can see everything that he does. And if you go to his website and you decide to have him come out, tell him that you heard it on this YouTube, that you heard it on Bring It to the Table, and he will give you $150 off your ceramic coating. And ceramic coating, I understand, is quite high. So check him out. And if you want to call him, you can call area code 626-328-0435. Give Mr. Gamble a call. You will be satisfied. Okay? Also, things are opening back up, and so there are some jobs that people can apply for. And one is Union Pacific. They have all positions open. Check Union Pacific out. I'm going to give you the information. Go to uprr.com, Transportation Train Crew, and apply. They're hiring right now. And if you know somebody, give them that information. Again, that's uprr.com, Transportation Train Crew. Send them there. Also, Caliber Collision is also hiring. Now, Caliber Collision, it doesn't matter whether it's male or female. If you know the difference between a front bumper and a back bumper, go apply. Go apply. And that's calibercollision.com. Okay? Like I said, male or female. Ladies, if you know the difference between a front bumper and a back bumper, apply. Also, there's 21 jobs opportunity at West LA County Department of Park and Recreation. Apply. Like I said, there's 21 jobs that's available. So I'm going to go to, you apply at, let me see here. You apply at https://hr.lacountY.com. Go and apply. If you know anybody besides yourself that was looking for a job, apply for anything that I understand they have a lot that's available. It's 21 jobs opportunity that's opening for park and recreations. Again, that's at https://hr.lacountY.com. Go and apply, because things are opening back up now and people are being able to get a job. And I understand, even with Caliber Collision, Union Pacific, and over here at Park and Recreations, the benefits are excellent. And that's what you want. The benefits are excellent. And I'm going to let you hear just a little bit more of her mystical journey. Yeah. Again, thank you so much, Mr. Lena Scott. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Yeah, so like I said, go and check those places out, because right now things are opening back up and jobs are available. Go ahead. And also, let me mention, also with Mr. Gamble, he is certified, licensed and certified in this. And it's not many people out there that's detailing your car is licensed and certified. and carry insurance. Also, now he's licensed and certified in window tinting. So, a lot of these youth and young adults, these young kids, they want their windows tint. Again, call over to Mr. Gamble and he can also take care of that. And I'm going to give you the number once again, 626-328-0435. Go to the website, Detailing, EATDETAILING.com, and check it out. All right. Now we're going to get back to this depression. And I think at one time we all, especially within the last 2 years, we all kind of had that, went through that depression. And that's because we didn't know which way the world was going, because so much was going on. There wasn't enough food on the shelves in the store, and you couldn't go nowhere. It was just, people were leaving here, loved ones, you were losing loved ones, losing friends, and that's enough to put everybody in a depressed state of mind. Everybody. And even with us knowing the Word of God and being in the Word, we still had that touch. Now, everybody may not admit it, but we still had that little touch of depression, because now we're faced with something that we've never faced before. Had no idea that we was going to even ever face something like this. So I think it put all of us in a little, again, defunk of a mood and being a little depressed. But even with that, we still lean and depend on who supplies all of our needs. And that's in Philippians 4:19, where he says, I will supply all of your needs. And for me, I made it personal. He will supply all of Gloria's or Gigi's needs. But that, even with that left a little, there still was a little doubt. Just a little bit, not a lot, but just a little bit. Just a little bit. So there was a little bit of depression there, but I didn't let it consume me. That I didn't do. I didn't let it take control. Not at all. Not at all. And I'm going to have Rashid play something, because I request this, because he promised. The Lord promised. And I want you to listen to this song and listen to the words. This is by B.B. Winans. Listen to it.
He promised me he will.
Even when you're going through depression,
He promised me
he promised.
he will. And I believe.
And you have to believe that he will.
I believe he will.
He's going to deliver.
He promised me he's a.
Alice,
He promised
Ava,
me he's a.
he's a provider. Shirley, you got to believe.
Yes, I believe he's a.
That's all he wants you to do, is say yes, that you believe.
No other name I know.
There's no other name.
In troubled times, he shows
He will show up.
whatever the need I go.
Whatever need, he's a provider.
And if cash gets low, I just he promised.
Because he promised.
Y'all,
Not only did he promise me, he promised you. He promised the world
promised me, y'all.
when he died on that cross.
And I
But all you got to do is believe.
Yes, I believe.
I know he's a healer because I know what he's done for me.
And he promised
me that he was going to be my protector. He's going to be yours too. So just remember, he promised. And he doesn't go back on his word. He can't. Because of who he is, he can't.
Yes, I believe.
So depression, emotionally, spiritually, just lay it down.
Diseases can't compete. Walking down dangerous
Yes.
streets.
As we walk around these dangerous streets.
And if trouble comes,
When trouble comes,
just
he's got you covered.
'cause he promised.
Because he promised.
Whatever, he promised me that.
Yes, he promised. And I'm going to hold on to his promise. And I want you to do the same. I want you to hold on to it. Hold on to the belief of his promise.
He promised me. He promised, me. He promised me.
Oh, what a good feeling it is to know that he promised.
I believe.
So therefore you have to believe. Yes, I believe.
He promised.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
He promised.
Lean on it, stand on it. Because he promised. He can't do anything without him. So hold on to his promise and believe. He's got you. Yes, he does. So all I can say for tonight is peace, one love.